Hey, welcome back to Mirror Expressions, you all, a channel where I take the time to share a little bit of myself with y'all, and I invite you to come on in and do the same with me. Go ahead, hit that thumbs up button, y'all. Hit subscribe if you haven't already, and let me know how you're doing. Y'all know I want to know. So drop me a mirror emoji in the chat if you have been doing okay. If you have looked in the mirror, yes, and you are feeling what you see looking back at you, go ahead, drop me a mirror emoji. And if not, as always, I encourage y'all to do what you must to get back to a healthier version of yourself. All right, y'all. Let's get it. Let's go. Abbott Elementary, y'all know this is like one of my favorite shows. It cracks me up every time. Like, listen, y'all, let me share this. I literally, I do a couple of reviews, and Abbott is my shortest show. It's only 30 minutes. But it always takes me the longest to review because I'm sitting here just cracking up at every other minute. Like, no lie, it literally takes me about 3 hours to get through Abbott. So, but anyways, y'all, season 2, episode 13, the fundraiser. All right, so open scene. We see Melissa in the break room. She's passing out donuts to the staff or whatever, and so every time somebody comes up to get a donut, right? Melissa starts doing these different impressions of actors and actresses from movies, TV shows, and stuff. And she's literally horrible at it, right? So nobody's just like getting there. Everybody's like looking at her like, really, girl, don't quit your day job. You know what I'm saying? So the thing about it though, Janine and Jacob called themselves getting in the confessional and talking about how horrible Melissa is at doing impersonations. Meanwhile, in the confessional, when they're talking about that, they're impersonating each other, talking about Melissa. It was just like, y'all are even worse than she is. Like, no. Like, no. Y'all don't give up y'all day jobs either. But anyway, so the school, they're getting geared up for this big fundraiser, right? They're trying to raise money to go to some museum, the Franklin Center, I think it was. But anyway, so Barbara's over the fundraiser. And so she's going to the classes, talking to them about how to do their sale pitches. She's coaching them on, like, if somebody declines, what do you say? And so as far as the fundraiser, what they're doing is they're selling those little candy bars. Y'all know what I'm talking about. I'm sure, because every school in America I know has sold them darn candy bars. So y'all know what I'm talking about. So she's in Jacob's class and she's talking, right? And giving them tips or whatever. And here goes Jacob talking about, well, I have a tip. As in the words of Big and Small. Never get high off your own supply, baby, baby. I said, even the students be over here, baby. They were just like, like, all on literally dropped their heads. It was like, oh, child. Oh, wait. But anyway, so Barbara's going on. And so she asked them, well, what do you say if somebody refuses to buy your candy? And so one little boy, he raises his hands and he says, you say, suck it, boomer. I'm sorry, y'all. I get too tickled. Oh, suck it, boomer. And she was just like, I don't know who Boomer is, but that is the incorrect answer. Oh, these kids these days. So, Janine, she's outside of school with her children, right? They're like in front of the school or on the side. I don't know. They're like by the school selling the little candy bars. Whoever is walking by, right? And so they're not having any luck. Like people just keep walking by them or whatever. And so Janine's like, sometimes you got to give them a little entertainment. And so then she starts doing the Harlem Shake. Janine, like, stop, baby. It's a no. It's a no. Stop right now, Janine. Stop it. Anyway, so while they're out there, Maurice, Gregory's friend that she ran into at the hookah lounge, he ends up walking up. And so one of the kids end up asking him, well, do you want to buy some candy? And he was just like, hell no. Like, sir, why you gotta talk to the kids like that? Why you could just say no thank you? So hell no. And so now this is before he walks up on Janine, So then he walks up on Janine. So they're greeting each other. And so she's just like, my students, these are my students. They're trying to sell the candy. And so she's like, but yeah, they're sad because, nobody's buying the candy. So he's just like, you know what? I'll buy $10 worth. So he go back to the same little boy he just told hell no to. And just go throw the $10 in the box and grab like all these candy bars. Right? And then he go, I was just like, dang, he didn't even like hand the little boy the money, just dropped it, grabbed the candy bars. Oh, excuse me. And then he gonna say, now this is what you call game. Oh, child, bye. So anyway, once he does that, so we see Janine and we find out like she's in her little confessional. We find out that her and Maurice, she and Maurice have been texting one another. And that she's actually been enjoying the texting. And she loves how he never just texts LMAO or LOL. He actually sends a voice recording of him laughing. And she actually plays it on her phone. I said, oh, Janine's so corny. She is so corny. Like, really? But anyway, so he ends up asking her out right then and there. And so he's just like, how about we do something without the kids? And she's like a date? And he's like, yeah, unless you want to make it into a group activity. And I'm thinking like, Janine, no. Please say no. Do not make this into a group activity because you know who the group activity will involve. It's going to involve Gregory and his little lady friend. Like, no. So she ends up saying yes to the date. So they end up setting them a date night or whatever. I said, okay, Janine, or whatever. And meanwhile, Jacob, he walking down the hallway past the janitorial room, and he hears this meowing. So he doubles back and goes into the little janitorial room where Mr. Johnson was in there. He was trying to get like this little cat from under one of the shelving units, but he couldn't lure it out. So he was just like, you know what, I think I'm gonna go to the cafeteria and get some bacon and see if that'll motivate him to come out. And Jacob was like, no, you can't do that. Cats are pescatarians. Hey, Mr. Johnson, oh, so they have a religion? Oh, this show is a mess. Like, I just got to know, what do these writers be thinking about when they be coming up with this stuff? Oh, my goodness. So, anyway, Jacob is like, you know what? Just let me try. So, he bends down, and he starts talking about some, come on, little cinnamon cupcake. So Mr. Johnson's like, no, his name is Milton. And so they arguing back and forth about the cat name. And they don't even know the cat because Jacob's whole thing was, who would name a cat Milton? And so he's stuck on this little cinnamon cupcake. I said, oh my goodness. So anyway, the last thing we see is a student ends up coming into Ava's office. I think his name is Henry, if I'm not mistaken. Anyway, one of the older kids. And so he comes in And the first thing we see is his pants are dang near to the baby knees. Like he clearly has outgrown those pants, right? Like, yeah, he's doing some serious flooding right now. You know what I'm saying? So here she go. How are you gonna introduce your pants to your shoes? This doggone Ava, she gonna crack some jokes if she doesn't do anything else. But anyway, he came in to her so that, you know, he could get some new pants. And so she just gave him some, like, no questions asked. And I like that. I like how she keeps extra stuff for the students that may not be able to afford it, because that was like one of the things he came in and said, you know, I need some new pants and it's gonna be a while before I can get some new ones. And so it was just like, okay, I got you covered. Even though she was gonna check them, she was, you know, she was gonna get on their head. But I like that she didn't make him feel no type of ways about having to come to her, sorry, and ask for a little help. You know what I'm saying? I really did. I love the fact that she's provides her students with those things. But anyway, but you know she gonna continue to crack a joke. So she asked the boy while he was in the office, you know, let me hear your sales pitch while you out here trying to sell these little Wonka balls or whatever. And so the boy, he goes over to the sales pitch that Barbara has taught them to say. And so, you know, Ava started joining Barbara, like, calling her sales pitch old, whatnot, talking about it, and went back to the Bible times and the 12 disciples. And I said, oh, Lord, that doggone Ava. And so she ended up telling him, go get out of my office before I come up with some more jokes. So he gets up and he's walking out the door, and she says, hey, how long has Chris and Liam been lost? So the student is like, huh? Like Chris and Liam? Like what are you talking about? She said, yeah, because you're missing a couple of hymns worth. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. When she said that, y'all, I died laughing. That tickled me to my soul. Do you hear me? Because I couldn't guess that. I was like, now where's she? I knew she was going to say something crazy when she said something about Chris and Liam. But I could not, it didn't dawn on me that that's where she was going to take it, baby. Oh, my goodness. She said, because you're missing a couple of hymns. Oh my gosh. Yeah, I was on the floor. I was on the floor rolling. I was on the floor. Anyway. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. So we see Jacob, Barbara, Melissa, Janine, right? So they got like a little gold board on the hanging on the wall somewhere in the school, right? And so Barbara is about to update the board. Y'all, that tickled me. I'm telling y'all, oh my God. Anyway, so Barbara's about to update the board, right? So the goal was like to raise, I think, $5,000 or $6,000 or whatever. But they literally was at like the $2,000 mark. You know what I'm saying? And so I think like before she updated the goal, they were probably right under 2,000. So everybody's getting all excited. They're ready to see how much money they've raised so far, whatever. And so like Janine's doing her clapping and her jumping around. And Melissa is doing the drum roll. And Jacob is like, yeah, you know what I'm saying? So Barbara get that pen out and she starts marking the line, and she went right above where they already were. So let's just say, for instance, they were probably at 1,998 and they went to $2,001. Like it literally like was that close. Like no type of difference at all. No type of difference. So they're all discouraged at this point, and Barbara's like, you know, we might just need to cancel the trip. And y'all know Melissa, she gonna come in with some kind of way. to get over on the people. She gonna go rogue no matter what. So she talking about, oh, I can get these students in. We can distract. I know how to get 100 students in that building without paying. Oh, goodness. And so at this time, Ava ends up walking up, right? And so she has like an empty box, the box that the candy come in. So it's empty, but empty of the candy, and it's filled with money. So she ends up handing it over. And so they just like, how did you get all this money or whatever? Did you rob the kids? You know what I'm saying? And she was just like, no, I know how to sell, basically, she said, and so they're trying to convince Barbara, well, if Ava is bringing in this type of money in one day, if she does the same in a couple of days, in the next few days, we will hit our goal. You know what I'm saying? So they're trying to convince Barbara to bring Ava on board to help her with the fundraiser so that the kids can go on their field trip or whatever. So reluctantly, Barbara gives in and she invites Ava to help her with the fundraiser or not. So anyway, here go Ava gonna tell her. So they shook hands on it, whatever. And so here go Ava. Say I'm a hero. Barbara's like, no. Say I'm a hero. No. But you thinking it though? Y'all know that doggone Ava. So anyway, Ava, Barbara, Jacob, is it Ava, Barbara, Jacob? Yeah, I think it was the three of them. Anyway, and the students. So they're out in front of the school selling the candy. So Ava's giving her spiel. She's teaching the kids on what to do, right? She's giving them some tips. So she says, the first one is to act like you've already sold the candy bar. Prime example. So a man come up, and so Ava pulls one of the little students out. And she says, so how many did you want, sir? And the man is like, what do you mean? What are you talking about? And so Ava says, how many candy bars did you want to buy from this adorable little girl? So the guy, of course, is like, you look down at the little girl. The little girl's so pretty, got the little puppy dog eyes. So, of course, he's like, okay, I'll go ahead and buy one. And then, so he hands over the money. He's just like, well, do you have change? And so Ava is like, the next tip is, you never have change. Because these people aren't Sam Cooke. And a change isn't going to come. And so the little girl was like, no thanks, took that man money and walked out, baby. So tip 2 was, act like you got something going on with you, People don't like happy people, so you got to be sad and have a sad sob story. So she says her go-to is polio. Polio out of all things. And Barbara is looking like, what? Y'all know Barbara was flabbergasted. And so here go Ava. Well, polio is a thing now. It's back. And so then she goes on to say, and you also need to look out for liberal white people. And the camera pans to Jacob, and Jacob's like, well, I like to think of myself as being progressive. So then she says, they will make this face. Oh, goodness. Oh, my God. Even the students, well, is there really a difference, like, between a liberal white person and a progressive one? Like, meanwhile, one of the students falls on the ground, right? Like, I don't know. She just popped out of nowhere and fell over. So she's like, ouch, ouch. So Jacob goes to her. And he's just like, are you okay? You know? Now, mind you, this is after the whole, you act like something's wrong with you, and you look out for the liberal white guys or the progressive. And so he runs over to her, and are you okay? And she's like, no, but you can buy a candy bar from an at-risk black youth. So at this point, Barbara has had it. She is livid. So she's like, come with me right now, Ava. We need to talk about this. And so Barbara's like, I didn't think you would be turning them into little scammers. You've gone too far. And everything is, but it works. You know what I'm saying? It's helping us to meet our goal or whatever. So meanwhile, Janine and Gregory, they end up running into each other in the hallway. Like, he's coming from his podcast thing, and she's coming from the step team thing, right? So they just kind of run into each other. So Janine ends up telling Gregory that she ran into Maurice. So she's just like, guess who I ran into? So he starts literally guessing people, and she was just like, every time he mentioned her name, she was like, and she's like, you know what? That was really a rhetorical question. So she is on telling him that she ran into Maurice and that they are going out on a date. And so Gregory is clearly shooketh. He's just like, wow. So Janine is like, you know, I can't tell by your reaction if that's a good thing or a bad thing. So Gregory is like, you know what? I just want you to be careful. You just need to be careful. So she's just like, why? And so Gregory said, because he's an all or nothing type of guy. And Janine is just like, if I need to watch out for him, like, then why is he one of your best friends? And Gregory is like, you know, we both know that dating is different from being friends. Like, awkward. So, anyway, he said he's not trying to talk bad about him. And she pretty much is just like, you know what? But that's what it feels like. And so he says, well, if it doesn't work out, I just don't want it to blow back on me. Y'all, here goes Janine. Well, ain't no back's gonna be blown out. And so, of course, it gets even more awkward between them. And so at that point, they just decide to, look, you know what? You go your way, I'm gonna go my way. And yeah, let's just go ahead and end this conversation or whatever. So in the office, Ava hands Barbara a piece of paper to read over the intercom, and Barbara's just like, no. And so Ava's like, yeah, just sit down and read it. You know what I'm saying? So she does. And as she's reading it, it's telling the kids that they have reached their goal. And so as far as raising the money, and so that they will be going on a field trip or whatever. And so of course, Barbara is smiling or whatever, but then it goes on to say, and it's all thanks to Principal Johnson, the most gorgeous, and Barbara found like, you know what? I'm not reading the rest of this. This is no. That doggone Ava. Now, Ava be riding down for the kids, but she gonna need her clap somewhere, some way, somehow. Well, in the break room, we see Mr. Johnson and Jacob. They are arguing over this doggone cat. Both of them wants to be the parent to the cat. So they're arguing whether it should be fed milk or not, whether it should be chipped or not, whether it's time for him to be put down for a nap or not. Like, it's a whole baby out here. Like, what are we doing? And then, so on the other hand, Melissa and Janine, they're talking about her upcoming date with Mo. You know, Maurice has now moved up to just being called Mo. So we get like Janine and Gregory, they're sitting at the same little table talking and eating. And then Melissa's sitting up to the table next to them. So it's like Janine, Gregory, and then Melissa. So as Melissa and Janine are talking, Gregory is sitting right in the middle of this conversation, y'all. So He's sitting there just dying in silence. You can tell because he's really like, because Melissa's giving her tips like, you should already have your food picked out before you go to the restaurant, and you should do this, and so he finally is just like, you know what? Because even Jacob comes over at some point and was just like, yeah, Mo, da 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 da. And so Gregory finally said something like, so, oh, y'all are calling him Mo now? Like, is that what we doing? So then Janine is up bragging, like how Mo had bought all this candy from the students and how he's just so sweet, pun intended. And Gregory is like, you know what? I've been meaning to buy some candy from your students. Matter of fact, let me go ahead and do that right now. And so he starts reaching for his wallet. And Janine is like, but the kids are not even here right now. And the Melissa's like, why don't you just buy them from your own student? And then Jacob was like, you don't even eat candy, man. Like everybody was clowning their food. They were just putting him out there on Front Street. Because they know. So he was not being genuine about buying that candy or whatever. And so, here you go, though. Cause he was shy, talking about, y'all gonna let me support your entrepreneurship. Nah, Gregory, you was just trying to show up your friend Mo. Because he had did this, that, and the other. And you saw that they were all bragging about it. And so you wanted to do the same thing. So anyway, they don't reach the goal, but they end up deciding to sell the rest of the candy because they were just like, yeah, they could use the funds. They could go towards something else. And so they're out at the mall selling the candy, Ava, Barbara, and the kids, right? And so while they're out there, they end up running into one of the school board members. The one that attends Barbara church that was stealing from the church. And so she ended up blackmailing to make her donate money to the school back at the beginning of the year. Yeah, that one. So while she's kind of looking down her nose at the students and talking about how the charter school doesn't have to have their students out here selling candy. And now she's saying this to Barbara, right? So while that's happening, one of the little babies comes up and, tries to get her to buy a candy. And he's just like, it's only $1 for one bar. And so the school board member is like, are you sure it's only $1? And he was just like, yeah, it's $1 for one bar. So then the school board member was just like, well, that boy over there charged me $2. I bought a bar from him earlier and he said it was $2. So Barbara ends up calling him over. So the little boy she pointed at was Henry, the boy that was in Ava's office needing some new pants. So, Barbara was just like, did you actually charge her $2? Like, why'd you do that? And so before he could really answer, she was just like, you know what, just give the lady her change back or whatever. And so Barbara ends up going over there to Ava and she asks her, do you know that the students were overcharging the people? And Ava was just like, yeah, I told them to do it. So Barbara was like, well, if they're charging extra, where's this extra money going? Like, what are they doing with the money? And Ava's just like, whatever they want to do with it. You know what I'm saying? It's their commission, basically, is what she was saying. And so Barbara's like, you know what? You're teaching them to steal. And Ava says, stealing? They're not stealing. And Barbara, is mad. So she's like, she made a mistake involving Ava in the fundraiser. And so now the two of them are mad at each other. So we got those two mad and Mr. Johnson and Jacob mad at each other about this doggone cat. So they're all in the break room and it's just tension everywhere. Tension between Ava and Barbara. Tension between Mr. Johnson and Jacob. So Melissa was just like, you know what? I can't take this no more. So she comes in between Mr. Johnson and Jacob because even though they were mad, they were sitting at the same table. So she was like, came in between them as like a mediator. And so they were mad over who the cat was gonna go live with. They were fighting over that. And so ultimately they decided it would be best if the cat goes to live with Jacob because he had more stability in that way. And that the cat would have visitation with Mr. Johnson on the weekends. I was just like, oh, y'all, this is not a child. This is not a child. This is a stray cat that y'all found in this school. But anyway, so at some point after that, Jacob runs to Gregory. So Gregory done bought all this candy, right? So he don't eat the candy, so he's just passing it out. So Jacob, calls him out about it. And he was just like, what's really going on? And so he was just like, it seems like you're jealous about the whole Mo thing. I said, bingo. And so Gregory tried to act like that wasn't true, and he walked off, which actions speaks louder than words. They do. And so then Jacob was just like, so you really like Janine. And so Gregory's like, you like Janine too. And Jacob was like, no, I love Janine. That's the difference. And you like Janine. And so Gregory did answer the question. He was just like, you sound ridiculous. Meanwhile, Mr. Johnson over in the corner ear hustling done heard the whole thing. So now not only does Jacob know that Gregory has a thing for Janine, but Mr. Johnson know. And y'all know these folks messy as hell, especially Mr. Johnson and Ava. So I can't wait to see what he finna do with this info. But anyway, Ava ends up going to Barbara because she was just pretty much like, enough is enough. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're not going to keep giving me this silent treatment. Say what you got to say. And Barbara was like, pretty much, I done already said what I had to say. And Ava's like, well, it's more to it. What you want to say? Like, we need to go clear this air, squash this ish because this is my school. And Barbara's like, you don't own principals, do not own schools. Anyway, Ava goes on to tell Barbara that, she's teaching the children how to make extra money because not all of them have it like that at home. And so Barbara said, I know all of our students don't have it, but that doesn't mean that they should be out here scamming people. And so Ava said, you only think that way because you grew up having everything. Everything you needed, you had. But people like me, we did not. But look at me now. I'm a whole principal at my own school. So, going over to Mr. Johnson and Jacob. They ended up finding the owner of the cat. It belonged to one of the little students, a little fourth grader, who had brought the cat to school for a show and tell project when they should not have. And so the cat got loose and got lost. And so both of them sad, crying in the corner because they got to return the cat. They had really got attached to the cat. And y'all, guess what the cat name was? Milton. So we end with Barbara toward the end now. She ends up going over to Henry. Like they went to the gym doing something. So she walks up to him. And so she says, I'm sorry for embarrassing you. And so he's just like, you know what? I've never had anybody apologize to me, before about that. And so she ends up inviting him to help out with the church bake sale. And she says, because we could really use your skill set when it comes to selling. And so she also ended up telling him that he would get a cut of whatever he sold. And they kind of negotiate terms on it because he looked over at Ava like, because I think she said like 5%. He gonna say 90%. So they they end up setting on the price, I think like 10% or whatever. But I just like how Ava and Barbara came to that understanding, yeah, the two of them, and that how Barbara also not only apologized to the student, but also came up with another avenue for him to be able to make a little extra money and put in his pocket for the things that he needs. And that's like, that actually kind of brought little tears to my eyes. I said, oh, like when you see teachers going over and beyond for their students, that just does something to me. It just hits a little soft spot in my heart. But anyway, we see Janine cleaning up her classroom when Gregory comes in, and he, tells her that he hosted, she has a good time on her date that night, and that Mo really is a good guy. And so as he's walking out, he suggests, don't order the ribs because you get a bit aggressive when you eat them. And meanwhile, y'all know how they come back with the little closing scene. So the closing scene, we see Janine on her date, baby. And we just see Maurice just talking to her. And you could tell he's talking about some deep stuff. And he's just like, I've never shared this with anybody. I feel so, good opening up to you. Thank you for listening. Baby, when they pan their camera over to Janine, she was going in on them real, baby. She had sauce everywhere. All around her mouth, on her fingers. She was sucking them junks. I said, oh, wait. And it might even, he tried to hand her a napkin. She's like, nah, I don't need that. I ain't finished yet. Yeah, that was the end. I am so curious to see how this thing is going to go with Mo and Janine, with Gregory on the outside, being that's his friend. And it's so ironic that one of my viewers just commented about that last week, about she can't wait to see what's going to happen with that. And here we go, this episode. So yeah, I can't wait. I can't wait either to see what else unfolds with the whole situation. Anyway, y'all, that's all I got. Y'all know it. Another great episode. I don't ever have to tell y'all this because y'all see it for yourselves. So, as always, I'll pray for you all. Please pray for me. And what? Bye, y'all.